Hello everyone and welcome to my explanation video for the December 2021 rankings. If you would like to follow along, I recommend opening the doc yourself. This time around, we only did 40 teams because there weren't enough for 50, and there would be a lot of 1 in 5 teams from 41 to 50. So, I thought maybe cutting it down to 40 would be more interesting. Um, I almost started to cut it down to 30, but I decided to keep it at 40. Um, for things to explain, like little star is teams who are on here for the first time. So Acropora, Kokawumi, Macazera, I think that's how you say it, or Prism, also is known as Prism. I don't know how to say this. Splatterlight A, Wave Riders, Indiglo, you know. So those are the teams on here for the first time. The number in parentheses is the division this team is currently in for Ludi. So if you just want to look at their Ludi stuff and see how they did, you can go ahead. So first teams I'm gonna talk about is it's kind of, I guess, Acropora, OK Woomer, Vivas, and Illumini. These teams could definitely be a lot higher on the list. It's just they just either didn't have enough. Um, they just didn't have a big win um, in the tournaments they played, whether that be Minnow Cup or Low Ink or both. And then there, and then also Ludi could have helped some of these teams. I know Illumini, Vaz, and Acropora are in Ludi. If they would have gotten a win in one of their Ludi sets for December, keyword December, they probably would be a lot higher. So these teams are really good. I think Illumini being in the top 25 is deserved. I think they have the right to stay there, and I think they'll probably be back in the top 16 next month, since they have had a lot of roster changes. So for them to still be in the top 25, I think is really impressive, despite all of those roster changes. Next up, I want to go to Orb, also known as Prism, the new team on the block. They got 7th in beta. This team consists of Jim, um, Jim Secant, and I think 5774. I don't know. I think it's the Clash Blaster from Rising Hope. I think. I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but um, I know that they're a former member of Rising Hope, but um, they had a pretty good first lowing. They stiff arm a lot of teams below them, like Insquidius, Coco Wumi, Inception, Hidden Radiance of the Dawn, and then they had good wins over Ocean 7 and Sneaky Sharks. Their losses only consisted of teams above them, which are Shiver Minklings, Squid Killers, Falling Sharks, and Yume Stars. So, this is a team of 3. I believe Nox was a sub for them. Since they said they were a project, they are on this list. So, I'm looking forward to seeing their full roster. Um, Cope, also formerly known as Overlook, they made Alpha Bracket for the first time. They got a win over Hydra, which put them here, and I'll talk about why Hydra is so high compared to them in a second. For Heaven's Infinity, also known as Heaven's Moonlight, they had wins over Squid Killers and Hydra for Low Ink. And they also had a good win over Big Clam, kind of stiff arming Big Clam below them a little bit. For Okay, so for All right, next team of interest is Kappa because they had a really good month of December. They got 15th in beta, but their Ludi was really good. They had wins over Yume Star, Riss, I think that's how you say it, and Intimidation Factor. So all really strong teams. Um, so all really strong teams in their own right. So Ludi kind of repelled Kappa in this position. They're doing really well in Ludi. I think I believe they're undefeated right now in their Ludi group, and they are in playoffs. So really good job by them. Um, Next team is Kingmaker, who announced on their Twitter that this is their last tournament for quite a while. I will miss Kingmaker and their very interesting comp with the double or triple brush and whatever else they decide to throw in there. They had a good win over Aquatic Vanguard to end off the year. Aquatic Vanguard, very strong team and a very well capable team of winning this tournament, and probably I think you could say is a regular alpha bracket team going forward. So really good win over Aquatic Vanguard there for their Ludi set. Um, for their wins in Low Ink, they had wins over Vivas, OK Woomer, and Kappa. So that kind of propelled them here at number 13. Hydra, the team that we are going to talk about now. 5th in beta bracket, did not enter in Ludi. They were Division 6 last season in Ludi. They make their return to a Low Ink here. They had wins over My Like Paradise, Shiver Inklings, Intimidation Factor, and Illumini. Those are their kind of like key wins that kind of pointed out to me. They had more of these wins compared to Cope, even though Cope got a win over them. Hydra kind of helped themselves out by getting these really good 4 wins: My Like Paradise, Shiver Inklings, Intimidation Factor, and Illumini. So. And then outside of the Cope loss, their losses were to Heaven's Infinity, who I mentioned beat them. It's kind of same thing for Heaven's Infinity and Cope. They're kind of in the same boat. Hydra just got stronger wins than them. So if Heaven's Infinity and Cope would have gotten maybe 2 or 3 more strong wins, they would have. Against some strong teams, they would have definitely been a lot higher. Okay, next up, Blue Moon, 2nd in beta, and my new team, and I guess the new Wiggly Phantoms, I guess you could say. They had their Ludi set wins for the month of December, where we're literally feeding in Cryocore. Their wins in Low Ink were against Sneaky Sharks, Squid Killers, Kappa, Shivering Inklings, My Like Paradise. Really good wins there. For Blue Moon, for Ink Bashers and Myopsidus, these 2 teams can switch. It's kind of weird. For Ink Bashers, they got 9th in Low Ink. They had a really tough schedule in Ludi. They had Bungus Bros Circus, and then they also had Trickiverse Zone Supremacy and Dale Sushi. They had all of these sets in the month of December. If any of those would have been wins, Ink Bashers without a doubt would be in the top 8. For Low Ink, though, they got a really good win over Access Denied, and they had a good win over Blue Moon and stuff, and also insert team name, which is some former members of Booyah X, and also a member from Up the Ante, and I think a member from Phantom Clover as well was on this team, or Pickup. Excuse me. And then they also got a win over Cope here. So the reason why I say they could switch with Myopsidus is that Myopsidus did get a really good win in Ludi against Squadra Azura, and then they also got a win over Ink Bashers and Falling Sharks. So Myopsidus got a head-to-head win here, but they also had some really good, strong wins to back it up, which Cope and Heaven's Infinity kind of needed to be ranked higher than Hydra. So if that makes sense, I hope it does, but yeah. Okay, Squid Killers, the team of interest here for me. Broken Controller Gaming and CIA. They beat Broken Controller and CIA in Ludi. For their wins in low ink, they got a win over Vaporwave, who seemed to be popping off this low ink, but unfortunately dropped. Um, okay, Woomer, insert team name. Orb, Blue Moon, who they beat twice. Hydra, Shiver Me Inklings, My Like Paradise. So really good quality wins for them. And then their losses were to Heaven's Infinity, Access Denied, 6 gigs, and Blue Moon. 6 gigs consist of Sig from Deo Tsushi, Jimmy and Gigas from Ink Sync, and then Japanda from Fruit Punch, or formerly of Fruit Punch. So Dark Rain got 6th in low ink. Their wins were over Yuma Stars, insert team name, Ink Bashers, Cope, My Opposite Falling Sharks. So really good quality wins, and then they placed pretty high here, which is why they're at number 7. Literally feeding 12th in low ink, but they had some really good. They had a really good win over Access Denied, and they beat Ink Bashers, Freelancing Takoyaki, Octo, Utopia, and My Like Paradise. So they had some really strong wins, even though they didn't have a deep run this low ink. They had some really good wins to go along with their placing. Shiver Me Inklings, who had a really good month as well. 4th in beta, 8th in Minnow Cup, Tower Control. I think I should mention that Mekahara, that team at 21st, beat them. I think beat them in last round of Swiss, and they also ended up matching in top cut. So bit unfortunate there, but they had a really good Ludi. They had a really good month of Ludi for December. They beat Kraken United and UCSD Esports. They lost to InkSync. If they would have got that win over InkSync, they'd probably be, arguably, they could be number 3 or make an argument to be number 4. For low ink and Minnow Cup wins, they had beat Illumini twice, Ocean 7, Intimidation Factor, Orb, Heaven's Infinity, Falling Sharks, who's above them, but I'll get to that in a second. For Falling Sharks, they got 8th in low ink and 2nd in Minnow Cup. They lost I think that loss in Minnow Cup was Super Persistence, who can't be on this list, and also Leg as well. And speaking of Leg, that is one of their quality wins. They had a win over Leg and also Meow No Cuppers in Minnow Cup. They also beat literally Inklings and literally Fading. Basically the same thing. They beat them twice. They beat Vivas as well, and then they also beat Kappa and Orb. So the win over Leg, even though it's just one mode, it's still a really good win. Beating a banned low ink team. So that's one reason why Falling Sharks is over Shiver Me Inklings. If Falling Sharks doesn't get that win, Shiver Me Inklings stays number 4. Access Denied, 4th in low ink. They got a win in Ludi over Snowfall and Illumini. Had a loss against Seki's Naga. For their low ink wins, they had one against Heaven's Infinity, Squid Killers, My Opsidus, and Dark Rain. Their loss against Ink Bashers kind of hurt them a little bit. Yeah, their loss against Ink Bashers kind of hurt them a little bit. And then their other losses consisted of literally feeding Lois and Snowfall, the 2 teams above them. So for number 1s, it had a lot of parity. If Sleeping Seals were to be included in this list, which they're not, because low ink winners are not included, it would there would basically be a 3-way tie for first, because there's a bit of circle of suck going on here. Lois got 2nd in low ink, Snowfall got 3rd, For lowest Ludi sets, they beat Freelancing, EMT Free Painters, and Dive. We don't know how strong Dive or EMT Free Painters are. They have yet to play in like a low ink or Mental Cup or whatever. So we don't really know how strong they are compared to the other teams on this list. So we can't really estimate how strong those wins are. Freelance and Takoyaki is 23rd. So for their low ink wins, they beat Ocean 7, Heaven's Infinity, My Obsidian, Dark Rain, Cope, literally Inklings, Axes Denied, Snowfall, and Sleeping Seals. So those are their quality wins. Those last three specifically. And then their losses were to Snowfall and Sleeping Seals. For Snowfall, on the other hand, Snowfall beat Aquatic Vanguard, and they also beat Kingmaker, who was doing really well, who had a really strong start in Ludi. And then they had that loss against Access Denied. For their wins in low ink, they beat Lois, Vivas, Sleeping Seals, Falling Sharks, Molly Whoppers, and Access Denied. So you could argue, considering we know how strong Kingmaker and Aquatic Vanguard are, you could argue that Snowfall just deserves number one outright. And then you could also make the counter argument that Lois needs to be number one because they beat Snowfall anyway. But in the same light, Snowfall beat Lois. So it's kind of like a little. There's a lot of parity at the top of this list right now. So hope that answers all your questions. That will be all from me. Couple things. There are a lot of teams missing from this list, obviously, because they just didn't meet the requirements. Consider these more like power rankings than just flat out, rankings. These are power rankings for the month. These are just for the teams who performed during that month, or the teams that played during that month. So these are ranking all the teams. This is not to mention that Outcast Ninjas is missing, Up the Ante is missing, INKD is missing, Aquatic Vanguard is missing, Legato is missing. Oh, that's like 5 teams that could be in this top 16 right now that are all missing. So, yeah, if you're not on this list, don't take it to heart. It's just you didn't meet the requirements to be on it. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're bad because you're not on the list. So don't take it to heart. I just thought I'd clear that up. Also, another thing, I will be sending out a poll pretty soon, probably tomorrow, asking what I should do about rankings. I'll elaborate on that more in the tweet. Also, the reseeding of Ludi divisions Div 2 through 9. That will be done after Ludi, so maybe sometime in February, maybe before. So whenever the Ludi season, like playoffs end and stuff like that. So thank you for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me or, come to my stream, because I do love to talk about this stuff. So if you feel like stopping by, please do ask some questions. Feel free to DM. I don't bite, so I'll be more than happy to answer about your team if I didn't go over your team specifically. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.